It's been a couple of thousand years since an angel of the Lord appeared to Abraham, saying, Abraham, your wife Sarah, who has been barren her entire life, she will bear you a son. And Abraham, Sarah, your family will become as numerous as the stars in the sky, and your family will exist to bless the nations. And it's also been a few hundred years since the prophets have spoken on behalf of God. And I'm sure that people are beginning to wonder, is God still at work in the world? Why has God been silent? And our story for today starts with a man named Zechariah. He's a priest in the family line of Abraham, and he's been called to temple service. And his wife Elizabeth, like Sarah, she's been barren her entire life. And Elizabeth and Zechariah have been praying for a child against all odds. And you can be sure that some of their neighbors, some of their friends probably thought that Zechariah and Elizabeth had some hidden sin in their life, and God had cursed them, and that's why they didn't have a child. But this wasn't so. Now, Zechariah, he enters the temple, and as he approaches the altar, as he lights the incense, an angel of the Lord, Gabriel, appears before Zechariah, an angel who stands in the very presence of God, saying, Zechariah, your prayers have been heard. God will answer your prayers. Elizabeth will bear you a son, and your son, you will call him John. Now, John, like Isaac, who was Abraham and Sarah's son, he was a forerunner of something to come. Isaac, he was the forerunner of a family that would exist to bless the nations. And John, he would be the forerunner of the Christ, of Jesus, the Messiah, God who would enter the world to bless the nations, both Jew and Gentile alike, to make all things new again. Now, I want to hit pause and ask a question about this story, and it's, what does the story tell us about who God is? It tells us that God hadn't cursed Elizabeth and Zechariah like some of the people believed. Instead, God would use their barrenness to bring a forerunner into the world to announce the Christ. And just because God was silent for a few hundred years before an angel of the Lord appeared to Zechariah, it doesn't mean that God was missing in action. It just means that world history was pregnant with something that was about to come, Christ entering the world. And it also tells us that God kept his promise to Abraham, that God would bless the nations through his family line. Now, I don't know what silence you're wrestling with. And I don't know what barrenness in your own life you might be wrestling with. And all I can really do is give you words of encouragement that hope is on the way. And it's my prayer that hope for you, you would discover it in Jesus.